windfall profits of the largest oil companies and return that money to consumers in the form of a quarterly rebate. I know Senator Whitehouse has talked about this earlier. The measure would provide consumers much needed relief while maintaining American competitiveness and reducing pressure on inflation by targeting corporate profiteering. So, Mr. Secretary, I know you're joining us virtually, but can you spend a minute talking how a windfall tax can help counter the outsized power of these large corporations and reduce inflationary pressure?
Yes, Senator, and I think it's very important. A windfall profits tax is exactly what is needed right now. When oil companies, for example, are showing, as they are, historical profits, they are making huge amounts of money. They are raising prices at the pump at the same time. They don't need to raise those prices. They could easily absorb any cost increases, but they are not absorbing those cost increases. They are instead, as you pointed out, they're taking their windfall, their huge windfall profits, and they are buying back shares of stock to help their shareholders and executives. And so people are going to the gas pumps. They are spending their own money at very, very high and rapid rates to fill their gas tanks. And that money, a large portion of that money, is going to executives and major investors. So you want a windfall profits tax that enables, that stops them from doing that and actually rebates that money to consumers. It's we did it in World War II. We did it in World War I. We did it under emergency circumstances. There's no reason we should not be doing it now. In fact, there's every reason we should be doing it.
Thank you very much. And China, my time is up. We'll submit some additional questions for the record. I just want to appreciate the distinction and emphasis on not just taxing profits, taxing windfall profits, because that is what's happening now through the exploitation at the pump. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you, Senator Padilla. Let me close by saying this. This hearing has focused on inflation taking place at the same time as we're seeing record-breaking profits. We're seeing record-breaking levels of stock buybacks. We're seeing high dividends. We are seeing and living through a moment in American history where the people on top are doing phenomenally well, while working people are struggling. Now, this hearing actually has been criticized. I got a letter this morning from the Chamber of Commerce, who strongly criticized the basis, the hypothesis underlying this hearing. But when we talk about corporate power in America, it's important to understand that the Chamber of Commerce itself has spent $1.4 billion in lobbying in the last 20 years. During this hearing, we referred to the fact that pharmaceutical industry profits are soaring. And yet at a time when we want to lower the cost of prescription drugs, turns out that the pharmaceutical industry, to defeat that initiative within Build Back Better, spent some $300 million on lobbying alone, not to mention advertising and campaign contributions. So while this hearing today focused on corporate profits and inflation, in truth, what we are touching on is an issue much broader. And that is the incredible power now held by corporate America, not only over the economic life of this country, but the political life of this country and the media life of this country. And I think it is fair to say that never
before, at least in the modern history of this country, have so few had so much in terms of financial resources and in terms of political power. And the challenge that we are facing right now is whether we are going to live in a government, live with a government that works for all of us.
Is dominated by big money interests and works for the very few. Unfortunately, right now, the latter is the case. The rich get richer and working families struggle. The wealthy buy political campaigns. So I would hope that this hearing today is simply a start in focusing on this massive disparity, not only in wealth, but in economic and political power as well. And with that, let me thank our panelists for being with us and the senators who participated. And let me conclude this hearing. And let me just say that I want to thank the all information for all senators, as information for all senators. Questions for the record are due by 12 noon tomorrow with signed hard copies delivered to the committee clerk in Dirksen 624. Email copies will also be accepted under our rules. The witnesses will have 7 days from receipt of our questions to respond with answers. With no further business before the committee, this hearing is adjourned.
Well, for what it's worth, I tried. I'm going to unlist this video. I don't think anybody besides me is watching it anyway. But yeah, at least I figured it out in the end. I haven't done a live stream in a while, and I didn't realize how much I was going to have to figure out all over again to get one working. So, all right, ending the live stream and broadcast.